This is a Let's Talk Church Safety and Security microsode with your host, Paul Buckner.
Good morning, sheepdogs. It is cold where I am this morning. I hope you are somewhere warm and nice and comfy. It's going to be one of those mornings that separates the men from the boys, and going to be cold. We have a fun one this morning because our normal overflow area that our ministry team, the staff, pastors, and a lot of our volunteers have moved into is a grassy area that is a no man's land. It is a frozen wasteland this morning and not safe for anybody to park on. So it's going to be a little harder to get folks in and out of the parking lot. That's going to be one of those realities this morning. Another fun aspect of that is that our services are close enough together, we'll probably have to sacrifice a song in between times. And by the grace of the living God, I love this, we have 12, and I mean 12, baptisms this morning. I think the high water mark was 14. And then salvation has come to a household near me. I had an interesting thing happen recently where a gentleman that could have at one time been counted my enemy, someone that left me no choice but to defend someone that I loved, and it was a relative of my wife's, and get between them. It was a hairy deal. You've heard me kind of dance around the topic many times. Has accepted Christ and wants to fly up with this young lady who's related to my wife and be baptized, and I love that. Only God. I have literally started saying only God, because only God can do the things like that he's doing. So pretty cool. Some neat things are going on. A lot of things in the works. Got some incredible interviews coming down the pipe. But I wanted to talk just briefly, after that rather lengthy preamble, I wanted to talk rather briefly just about what we're not here to do. And we're not here to protect property. And what I mean by that is, years ago I was watching the parking lot and I watched a lady get out, leave her purse in the seat, and I can't remember if I saw her toss her keys in the seat, but it was obvious that she didn't lock the vehicle. And I said, I can't tell you what to do, however I had said it to her, but I would really love to see you lock your vehicle. She's like, oh honey, why would I worry about that? She's like, you're here and you're here to protect my stuff. Someone tries to steal, you'll shoot them. I was like, no, that's not how that's gonna work. And she kind of looked at me and I said, I'm not here to protect property, I'm here to protect people. I'm not shooting somebody over the contents of your purse. I'll call the cops. And looked at me and turned around and went back and got in her vehicle and got her purse and got her keys and locked up her vehicle and took it inside. And I know that ladies, especially North American ladies, it's an American thing, they don't like to carry anything on their body and they don't like to carry their purse all the time. They like to lay it down somewhere. A lot of ladies are kind of hardwired to not carry stuff. I get it. But we are not here to protect property. And I remember a conversation that kind of startled me one day where we were talking about property vandalization, and somebody said, if somebody did that at my church, I'd shoot them. So that's one of these things about mindset that we need to think about going in, because lawyers are expensive and legal battles can rage for years. I use it like a raging fire or a raging battle on purpose. They can literally rage for years, and so we can set ourselves up with mindset, and that's one of those amen, say it again things. We can literally set ourselves up for disaster because of mindset. If somebody did that at my church, I'd shoot them. Except in a couple of narrow aspects, that's a bad mindset to be in. And we have to remember that, with the exception of Texas, and I'm not aware of any other states, there may be one out there, it's not legal to shoot someone over property. We don't want to shoot someone to begin with. And if someone's out there and they're vandalizing something, that's what insurance is for. If someone is out there and they're vandalizing something, it's a whole lot easier to replace objects than people. I remember years ago I had a young man I was trying to help somewhat successfully to mature and grow up, and he'd come from a rough background, and I think our church kind of did the it takes a village approach to helping him mature with some with some success. And he did not hook up a trailer correctly, and I thought sure he did, and so he did not lock the hitch, and it popped off the back of the vehicle I was driving, actually this vehicle, and it bounced, and literally, even though it had chains that clipped on and were securely clipped in place, it popped those too, and it went sliding down a hill. He literally unlocked the door, dove out the side of the vehicle, and took off running, which we weren't going that fast, and I was already braking when I saw the trailer sliding. This young man takes off, running down the hill, grabs the tongue of the trailer, and is sliding on his Nikes, trying to stop this trailer. And I'm like, let it go, let it go. You know, I can't replace you. I can replace a trailer. And it was even a borrowed trailer. I would have much rather gone to the man that was kind enough to loan that particular trailer to me, and say, hey, you know, I owe you a trailer, than to turn around and end up in a situation where this kid is mangled for life or dead. And I managed to get this thing over on the shoulder and jump out and run down and catch up with him. And it was everything we could do. We got the thing off in the ditch and backed up to it. And of course, it was a pretty strong incline, and we got it hooked back up. But when it comes to people, we can't replace people. And people need to matter more than property. And so if somebody's out there and we see somebody taking a baseball bat to an unoccupied vehicle, we need to call the police. That is what law enforcement is there for, and to try to get a response. And maybe we can get some nice pictures. You know, I know campuses that they have a church camera for doing some of their photography. We have several around our church that someone can zoom in and get some pictures of said person. But if somebody's hurting property but not hurting people, then we need to reassess. Now, there are definitely, you know, extenuating circumstances. If I see somebody carrying a 5-gallon jug of gasoline towards my church with a road flare, and they're starting to pour gasoline out along the edge of the church, I'm probably going to respond to that and at least start evacuating people back. And I probably, honestly, if somebody is posing that level of a threat, they might find themselves in a life-threatening situation. They're posing a lethal threat, but it's a different conversation. It probably not ever going to happen, but it's one of those worst-case scenario situations, and we can what if ourselves to death. But we need to be mindful as we're going into our day. Be aware that I'm not here to protect property, and maybe even add that to some of our training when we're doing internal training, to do kind of pop quiz moments with our team as we're coming away from COVID and getting back to things, and saying, hey, we're going to be training, we're going to be doing these things, we're going to be more regimented in this stuff. We need to be checking this stuff out. So just a thought about property and mindset.
If you enjoyed this microsode, check out the video and audio versions of the Let's Talk Church Safety and Security podcast.